This story begins with a girl named Minyi who has just transferred to a new school. Her only wish was to finally make friends this time. In her previous school, she felt like luck had abandoned her. She never managed to make a single friend. So on her first day, her mood was a bit down, but fate gave her a small surprise. When she was introduced in class, every student warmly welcomed her, and in this positive atmosphere, Minnie felt during recess that maybe, just maybe, she could make a friend today. Alas, no matter how hard she tried, it had no effect. Everyone was ignoring her. But then Jaiwan entered, the most popular girl in school, who came over with her friends and extended a hand of friendship. Minnie was astonished that such popular girls wanted to be her friend. What next? She immediately started using the socializing tips she had learned online to avoid any hesitation while talking. In a short while, Jaiwan and her gang invited her for lunch, and as they all walked together, a wave of happiness washed over Minnie's heart. Finally, my dream is coming true, she thought, but the twist in the story starts now. Jaiwan introduced her to some of her male friends, and as soon as Minnie met the boys, she felt completely uncomfortable. They were not only very handsome but also super popular. And just as Yi-jun, the most serious-looking boy, started to leave without a hello or hi, his bracelet suddenly got caught in Minnie's coat, causing him to stumble. But Minnie quickly caught him. She was utterly confused about what to do. Then she remembered seeing in a video that one should always smile in awkward moments. So she mustered up the courage, smiled, and softly apologized. Yi-jun, with a cold attitude, simply said, "Forget it," and left. Jaiwan then explained to her that Yi-jun and Hai-jun were cousins but complete opposites in personality. Hai-jun was the class president, smart and super nice, while Yi-jun was entirely reserved and a cold person. But the real fun was yet to come. In music class, Minnie and Yi-jun were forced to sit next to each other. The atmosphere was already awkward, and now it became even weirder. But Minnie reminded herself, be social. So she bravely tried to start a conversation. But Yi-jun just put on his earphones. Minnie's heart sank a little. A while later, a teacher called her, motivated her to enjoy this new school, and then told her that another new student would be arriving soon. But as soon as Minnie saw the girl's profile, her eyes widened in shock. The new girl's name was also Minnie, but people knew her as Haimin, an Instagram influencer with thousands of followers. Her photo was stylish, fashionable, and completely glamorous, whereas our protagonist was still simple with glasses. The biggest shock came when the professor mistook Minnie for Haimin. Minnie began to wonder, did my new friends also mistake me for Haimin? Is our friendship based on a mistake? She was confused, happy that she had friends, but also afraid that the truth might be revealed. Then, the story took another U-turn. Haijun himself came to talk to her because he had figured out the whole truth. Yijun, however, assured Minnie that he wouldn't share her secret with anyone. And when she was back in class, her friends came to her and praised her social media popularity, but they were actually looking at Haimin's Instagram profile. At that moment, Minnie felt she should tell the truth. But then she realized that all these girls just wanted to get close to her, so she would follow them on Insta. To save herself from this strange situation, Minnie lied that she no longer used social media. As the school day ended, walking home, she felt like a loser because everyone wanted to be friends with her because they had mistaken her for someone else. Tears welled up in her eyes. She stopped at a shop to buy something sweet, and just as she bought some candies, Yi-jun suddenly grabbed her arm because he had seen Minnie crying on the bridge and thought she was going to do something wrong. Minnie thanked him for caring and then asked him a direct question, "Have you ever thought about what it would be like to disappear from this world?" Yi-jun replied simply, "No, never, but perhaps the best thing is just to stay alive." That night when Minnie reached home, she listened to a song titled Disappear or Stay Alive. The title touched her feelings. She listened to the song and, reading the comments, felt she wasn't alone in feeling this way. So she also left a heartfelt comment, which was replied to shortly after by the creator of the same playlist. "I also feel this way sometimes, but the most important thing is just to stay alive." The next day in class, the new student Hyman finally arrived. But when Minnie saw her, she was shocked because Hyman didn't look at all like her online image. She looked completely like a nerd. During recess, Minnie found her in the bathroom and asked her, "Why do you look like this? You are so beautiful and popular, why all this?" But Hyman coldly replied, "I don't need to tell you anything." At that moment, Minnie realized that Hyman had adopted this nerdy look intentionally. In class, Minnie and Jaiwan were now laughing and joking, and watching this from afar, Hyman remembered her old life when she was also with her friends and played with makeup. But all that was now a thing of the past. She now felt that friendship was useless. After this, Minnie tried again to talk to Hyman, but Hyman didn't want people to see them together. So she dragged Minnie to the school storeroom and clearly told her, "Don't act like you know me, you know nothing about me." Minnie then opened up and told her everything, how her friendship was built on a mistaken identity and how she needed help. But Hyman coldly replied, "That's your problem, solve it yourself." Meanwhile, Yi-jun and Haijun were sitting together in their cousin mode. Haijun, slightly nervous, asked him, "Are you interested in Minnie?" But Yi-jun immediately said, "Absolutely not." Just then, Jaiwan arrived and asked what they were talking about. When Haijun told her that people were spreading rumors that something was going on between Yi-jun and Minnie, both Jaiwan and Haijun started teasing the emo boy Yi-jun. And this is where the scene became amusing. Jaiwan tells everyone that she is hosting a party for Minnie's welcome because she is the new member of the group. With this, we see everyone enjoying together at a karaoke. After some fun, Yi-jun suddenly tells Minnie to sing a song. After all, it's her welcome party. Minnie gets a little nervous because she had never sung in front of anyone. Hae-jun interjects, hey, why don't you two sing together? But Yi-jun gives him a straight answer, bro, I don't sing. Still, Minnie showed courage and started singing because she had decided to tell everyone the truth today. But as her voice rang out, the whole group was stunned. Minnie's voice was so beautiful that everyone started clapping, boosting her confidence. After the song, Minnie made an excuse and went to the washroom. Little did she know that Yi-jun had silently followed her. As she came out, Yi-jun handed her a drink and congratulated her on her performance. In that moment, his slight interest in her was clear. Both then returned to the karaoke room, and a little later when her friends returned, they happily announced that Hae-min had accepted their follow request on Insta. Minnie now realized that everything was about to end, friendship, trust, everything. But then they saw that Hae-min's Instagram profile didn't have a single photo. This gave Minnie some relief, but at the same time the question arose, why did Hae-min delete all her photos? On the other side, Yi-jun and Hae-jun were talking on the balcony. Hae-jun recalled an old argument about which they still disagreed, but Yi-jun coldly said, I don't care. The next day in music class, Minnie's eyes were fixed on Yi-jun. Yi-jun also noticed this, leading to a slightly awkward conversation. But then he took out an earphone and offered it to Minnie so they could listen to music together. Minnie was stunned. This cold boy was now making such sweet gestures. As class ended, Jae-wan started taking selfies with her friends. But then Hae-min stepped in and the girls felt she was ruining the photo. So in her typical queen style, Jae-wan came up to Hae-min and said, could you move aside? Hae-min pretended to be shy but understood everything internally, and as the photo session ended, Hae-min walked past everyone and stepped directly on Yi-jun's shoe, deliberately of course. Then without saying anything, she quietly walked away with an innocent look on her face. Afterward, Minnie and Hae-min met on the roof where Minnie thanked her for deleting the Insta photos. Hae-min advised her not to get too close to those girls or there could be trouble. Both felt that maybe if they exchanged their identities, everything could become easier. Minnie wanted to remain popular, and Hae-min just wanted a normal, invisible life. So they made a deal. Hae-min would teach Minnie how to be popular and Minnie would make her a perfect nerd. The next morning, as Minnie was having fun with her friends, Jae-wan suddenly asked her why she left the idol agency as she had heard that Minnie was a former trainee. Hearing this, our Minnie was completely confused, but as soon as her eyes fell on Hae-min, the real trainee, she signaled to keep quiet. Minnie also dropped the subject. A few days later, Minnie went shopping and was practicing to become a perfect popular girl. Suddenly, Yi-jun appeared in front of her. Their eyes met, and after slight hesitation, both said hello to each other. From that moment, Yi-jun's interest slowly started to become apparent, even though he was still quite shy. The next day in PE class, all the friends gathered and Jae-wan noticed Minnie's shoes, which were clearly not original. Everyone was shocked, as if a scandal had occurred. Fashion icon Minnie wearing fake shoes. Everyone made a big fuss over this small detail. But then Yi-jun moved in again and said that he also wore the same shoes, and with this excuse a friend jokingly asked, oh, are you two dating? This question diverted everyone's attention from Minnie's shoes to the playful teasing. Later, when both Minnie's, our Minnie and Hae-min were talking in the school storeroom, they heard someone coming and Minnie hid. The person who arrived was none other than Hae-jun, who immediately understood what was going on inside and said, I also want to join the secret group. And just like that, the three of them formed a secret group. Hae-jun then informed both of them that there were rumors on the school forum about Minnie's fake shoes. And now, every time Minnie walked through the hall, everyone stared and whispered. Back in class, Jae-wan apologized to Minnie for the comment about the shoes in physical education class. But Minnie maturely said it was okay and she wasn't angry. However, Minnie felt bad later when she heard some people speaking ill of Hae-min, even though Hae-min had always been kind to them. The next day, Hae-min called our Minnie so she could understand her better, and this is where the two became even closer. Then one day, both were sitting in a cafe. It was Minnie's first time out with a friend and her happiness was evident. Hae-min asked, have you ever been to a cafe before? This innocent question embarrassed Minnie a little because she was popular at school but had never been to a cafe. Seeing this, Hae-min quickly took a lovely photo of her and said, let this be your new profile picture. Meanwhile, when Yi-jun saw Minnie's new profile photo, he felt like talking to her. But then Hae-jun arrived and caught Yi-jun because he was actually hiding something, and Hae-jun caught him red-handed. The true mastermind behind the anonymous posts on the school forum, which started the rumors about Minnie, was now slowly starting to emerge. The very next day, when the girls were talking about who had a crush on whom, someone casually mentioned that Minnie had become good friends with both cousins, Yi-jun and Hae-jun. This made everyone feel a little strange because Yi-jun had always been difficult to get along with, very reserved and cold. Minnie heard this and fully understood one thing. Yi-jun was not only like this with her, he was like this with everyone. But still, a small question arose in her heart. Will I ever be able to get closer to him? Amidst these thoughts, one day when she goes to class, she sees that Yi-jun is being scolded by a professor because his dressing looked like a college student's and not the school uniform. Minnie softly suggested that he should try wearing the school uniform sometimes because he might look even better in it. And a little later, when Minnie looks towards the classroom, there stands Yi-jun in full school uniform and he truly looked dashing. At that moment she remembered Hymin's words about how a person's attitude and vibe completely change with their dressing, and this filled Minnie's heart with a little joy. During recess, Yi-jun asks Minnie for her Korean notes, which she happily gives him. In return, Yi-jun gifts her his favorite music CD as a thank you for the notes and also for the uniform suggestion. After the PE class ends, as Minnie enters the classroom, she notices her shirt, which she had bought with Hymin, but Jaewan and her gang start laughing at her. What kind of t-shirt is this? Who wears such clothes? Minnie feels a little embarrassed. But at that moment, Hae-jun speaks up, you look absolutely like a goddess, and for your information, that t-shirt is quite expensive. Saying this, he looks straight at Hae-min. Here begins a flashback where Hae-jun is asking Hae-min why she's helping Minnie so much, and Hae-min says, because I consider her a true friend and want to protect her. Hearing this makes everything even more emotional. On the other side, Jaewan and her friends watch the whole scene with jealous eyes. The next day, Minnie brings a small gift, a movie ticket to thank Hae-jun for the CD gift, but it's just one ticket. Hae-jun gets a little confused and asks, should I go alone? Minnie awkwardly says yes, but Hae-jun smartly says no, it would be better if we both go together after school. And just like that, their first official outing is confirmed. But as Minnie is walking down the corridor, Jaewan blocks her path and suggests they go to the shop where she bought that shirt. But Minnie clearly says she can't go, I'm going with Yi-jun. Hearing this, a light bulb goes off in Jaewan's head. Oh, does Yi-jun like Minnie? She said, okay, I can help. But the next morning, Jaewan messaged Minnie, I need to talk to you about something important. Meanwhile, as Hae-jun and Yi-jun enter the school, Hae-jun notices that Yi-jun looks a little different. He asks, are you happy? But Yi-jun in his signature tone says, I'm the same as always. But his cousin clearly understands that this boy is hiding something. On the other side, our Minnie confronts Jaewan, who this time acts very innocent. She starts talking about the dilemma between love and friendship and then casually asks, do you like Yi-jun? Because look, he also invited you on a date. Minnie was a little surprised, but after thinking replies, no, I don't like him, because she had started to feel that Jaewan liked Yi-jun and she didn't want to affect their friendship. But Jaewan didn't stop there. She quickly said, by the way, I don't like Yi-jun either. He invites every girl out anyway. Hearing this, a flood of confusion rushed into Minnie's mind. Is Yi-jun really serious about me, or is this just his habit? And in this turmoil, she gave the movie ticket to Jaewan so she could go with Yi-jun. And when the date time arrived, Yi-jun arrived, dressed up in full alpha mode. But seeing Jaewan, his mood was instantly off. Instead of Minnie, Jaewan, but he didn't show it and the date continued normally. Minnie met Hae-min in the park and told her everything. Hae-min got very angry because she now understood that Jaewan had lied to Minnie and taken her chance. Without delay, Hae-min decided to call Hae-jun. Meanwhile, inside the cinema, Yi-jun couldn't understand why Jaewan was there, so he tried to talk to Minnie. But then he saw with his own eyes that Minnie herself had come to watch the movie with his cousin Hae-jun. Now, his temperature rose. The heat of jealousy was clearly visible. Before the movie, everyone went to a shooting game room where Minnie showed off amazing gun skills. Hae-jun congratulated her. But just as he tried to high-five, Yi-jun also extended his hand and there was a slight tension in the scene. Later, when everyone was seated in the theater, Hae-jun was internally burning with jealousy. His crush and his cousin were in front of him and he himself was with Jaewan. He didn't know how to hide his jealousy. As soon as the movie ended, Hae-jun quickly grabbed Jaewan's hand and said, come, I'll drop you home. But his real plan was to leave Minnie and Yi-jun alone. On the way, Jaewan understood everything. She asked Hae-jun if he knew that she didn't like Yi-jun. Hae-jun also didn't keep quiet now. He directly said, I know you don't like Yi-jun. You are just jealous of Minnie and it would be better if you don't cross the line. Hearing this, Jaewan also understood that the person in front of her was no ordinary boy. Meanwhile, Minnie and Yi-jun were walking home together and Minnie asked him, did you really want to invite me on a date? Yi-jun's answer was clear inside, yes, but his shy nature stopped him. Just as Minnie was about to go home, Yi-jun gathered his courage and said, I'm truly very happy that you came on the date. This single line made Minnie's day. Reaching home that night, Minnie listened to her favorite artist's song and left a deep comment, unburdening her heart. Coincidentally, the owner of that playlist saw the comment and was surprised that Minnie felt the same way he did. The next day during recess, while all the girls were engaged in their usual gossip, Jaewan started to feel a little distant from her own friends. She made an excuse that she wasn't feeling well so she wouldn't go to the cafeteria, because the truth was that she was still angry with Minnie, especially after the cinema scene. Sitting alone, Jaewan started to think about when this jealousy towards Minnie started. In the beginning, she had no ill intentions. She thought Minnie was an ordinary girl, and as always, she would win her over with her fake compliments, just like she did with everyone. But Minnie's behavior and natural personality drew everyone's attention, and Jaewan was slowly sidelined. From there, the thought settled in her mind that Minnie could be a threat to her, especially to her position. And as soon as she saw a photo of Hae-min in which Minnie was posing and receiving a lot of comments and compliments, Jaewan felt that she had to do something. So a plan was made. She met her friend Doohee and told her a huge lie. She said, I like Yi-jun and I told this to Minnie. But despite that, she started interfering in my date by teaming up with Hae-jun. Hearing this lie, Doohee was completely shocked and her first reaction was, oh, she turned out to be a real snake, meaning she stabbed her friend in the back. The next day when Minnie was talking to Haijun and his friends, she saw her old friends from afar and tried to go to the cafeteria with them. But as soon as she went, they all treated her very badly and made it clear that Minnie had ignored them just to chase boys. And yes, Jaiwan's plan was working exactly as she wanted. Minnie was completely cut off from the friend group and was left sitting alone in the cafeteria with a broken heart. But she felt the worst when Yi-jun and his cousin saw her alone, came and sat by her and started comforting her, because now Minnie became the target of all eyes. Whispering started all over the school that this girl was very cunning. She was dating the two most popular boys simultaneously. Hearing all this, Minnie became even more broken and immediately left there. She went straight to Hyman and told her everything. Hyman tried to show her the truth and said, "You didn't do anything wrong, but still these girls were against you because in reality they were never your true friends." The next day Minnie's mood was still down. But Yi-jun noticed this and to cheer her up showed her a sad sketch he had made, which was so funny that Minnie smiled. This small gesture deepened Minnie's feelings for Yi-jun. And now that night Haijun played a new card. He came to Jaiwan and Doohee and gave an acting masterclass. He acted as if he had become interested in Jaiwan and requested Doohee if she could leave them alone for a while. Hearing this, Doohee's face fell because one thing we hadn't mentioned earlier was that Doohee actually liked Haijun. But now when she steps away and Haijun and Jaiwan are left alone, Jaiwan directly asks, "Why are you doing this when you know your friend likes you?" And Haijun's answer is straight, cold and shocking. "You have also done the same thing with Minnie, so don't be so innocent." Not only that, Haijun also tells her that he has a secret about Jaiwan that no one else knows, only he does. Then the next day after physical education class when all the students were cooling down, an old photo suddenly went viral on the school forum. And it was no one else's but Jaiwan's. In that photo she looks completely different, meaning she wasn't so glamorous before. And this is what triggered everyone. People were shocked, started gossiping, and many even got angry as if they had been cheated. Jaiwan's secret was no longer a secret, and her whole world seemed to turn upside down. She was broken because the secret she had hidden for so many years was now exposed. Here, a flashback opens up to when Jaiwan was heavily tormented and bullied at school. But one day at the bus stop she met Haijun and that's where their friendship began. Both decided that they would leave their old selves behind and become better. But now Jaiwan couldn't understand why the same friend with whom her journey began was making a fool of her today. She started to feel that all this had changed only after Minnie's arrival. And now another secret comes out. Although Haijun looked simple and caring, he was not always like that. Once he exposed his own cousin by leaking a video in which his cousin was giving a singing audition. And as soon as that video came out, the whole class burst into laughter. Haijun's cousin was humiliated. And now when Haijun's cousin finds out that Haijun did the same thing to Jaiwan, he confronts him again. He says, "You haven't changed at all." Haijun defends himself, saying, "I just wanted to help her, I didn't know anything." But the truth was that Haijun always felt inferior to his cousin and thought that people were close to him not because of him but because of his cousin. And this jealousy forced him to do such things. We now return to the present where Haijun is talking to Haimin and openly confesses that yes, he was the one who went viral with Jaiwan's old photo and he also spread the rumors about Minnie. But just then Minnie arrives and overhears everything. She is shocked, her trust is broken, she starts crying because she thought Haijun was a true friend, a good person. But now she fears that he might do the same thing to her, and now it's night. Yi-jun is waiting for Minnie, and when she arrives he says that he is angry with his cousin and misses Minnie a lot. Minnie remains silent for a bit. But when Yi-jun starts to leave she stops him and says, "Let's go to karaoke, it will lighten the mood." And as both of them arrive there, Minnie notices that Yi-jun is very hesitant to sing. Then Yi-jun opens up another layer of his past, when his own cousin made fun of him in front of everyone. Since then Yi-jun has always been afraid that he might become a laughingstock again, and this fear still stops him from singing today. But when he tells this to Minnie, Minnie encourages him and lightens his mood by singing a beautiful song. Slowly Yi-jun's face brightens, and he also breaks his hesitation and sings a beautiful song for her. This moment reminded Minnie of the good times they had spent together. After the song, Minnie thought that she would now tell Yi-jun her biggest secret. But then she got scared. What if Yi-jun gets angry? But then there is another surprise. Yi-jun suddenly tells her that he has fallen in love with Minnie. Hearing this, Minnie becomes completely confused because deep down, she knows that she hasn't been completely honest with Yi-jun, so she asks Yi-jun for some time to think everything through properly. That night when Minnie is very excited, she calls her friend Haimin and tells her everything, how Yi-jun confessed his feelings and asked her out on a date. She thanks Haimin because without her support, none of this would have been possible. The next day on the other side, Jaiwan is sitting with her friend and thinking about how she can improve her image. Then her friend suggests an idea. Why not start a relationship with the new transfer student, a smart and stylish athlete? But the twist is that this boy is none other than Haimin's ex-boyfriend. But these girls don't know this yet. A little later, when Jaiwan comes to talk to Minyi, Minyi feels that her old friend has now changed, and maybe there is a chance to be friends again. Both reminisce about old memories and become friends again, letting go of all their grievances. During this conversation, Jaiwan shows her a photo of the athlete who was her blind date, and this is the same boy who is transferring from Hyman's old school. Minyi doesn't know anything about that boy, so she says that she will ask her friend Hyman. When Minyi meets Hyman and asks about the athlete, Hyman's face falls. She gets angry and misunderstands Minyi because she doesn't know that this is the same boy who ruined her past. Hyman leaves abruptly and Minyi doesn't understand why she got such a reaction. Now the story goes into a flashback. An incident from 4 months ago is revealed. Hyman was in a relationship with this athlete at that time, but one day when she refused his bad intentions, the boy tried to hit her. Hyman bravely accused him in school, but because the boy was a promising athlete, the school didn't take direct action against him. They needed more evidence. So they called Hyman's best friend to testify. But here, the heartbreaking truth is revealed. Hyman's own best friend, who had a crush on her boyfriend, gave false testimony and supported the boy. This completely broke Hyman. She felt that she couldn't trust anyone anymore. She was proven a liar in school, and the very next day, the rumor spread that Hyman had falsely accused her boyfriend. And after this revelation, all the students started distancing themselves from our lead heroine Minyi, because remember that she is not the real Hyman, she's just studying in the school under her name. On the other side, the real Hyman also found out about all this, but she didn't care because she knew what kind of person Minyi really was. Then one day after class, Yi-jun talks to her privately. The atmosphere was a little strange, but still the boy encourages her and with a lovely smile says that whenever she is ready to share her secrets, they can be friends. Meanwhile, Hae-jun confronts Jaiwan. The boy apologizes to her for going viral with her old photo and now promises not to harm anyone anymore. At first, Jaiwan suspects that he might still be hiding something, but no, the boy is genuinely remorseful. But on his way out, he also makes Jaiwan understand that the obsession with being number one in everything will lead her nowhere. Amidst all this, Hyman herself stops coming to school and locks herself in her room. But when she comes out one day, she gets a lovely surprise: a food basket and a letter sent to her by none other than Minnie herself. And as expected, this sweet gesture touched Hyman's heart because now she also started to feel that Minnie had become her true friend. A few days later, both meet again, and Minnie starts crying because she didn't know that her friend was going through so much pain. Minnie persuades her to come back to school and show the whole world that she is not a liar but a victim herself. But then on the other side, Jaiwan calls Minnie in a panic. Why? Well, in the past few days, Jaiwan had started dating that handsome athlete. Everything seemed fine. But the next time they met, the boy suddenly started behaving very aggressive and toxic. Jaiwan got scared and immediately called Minyi. Hyman, who was with Minyi at the time, both immediately reached the spot and confronted the guy right there. The very clever boy tries to make himself the victim, saying that these girls want to ruin his image and career. But Jaiwan confronts him and says that he is an abusive person and his actions are unforgivable. And then Hyman steps forward and shows that she had recorded the entire conversation and says in a sharp tone, "Don't you dare go near these girls again." The next day, after everything has calmed down, we see both girls getting ready to go to school. Confidence returns to Hyman's face. Walking on the road, Minyi says that she has an important task to do and walks a little ahead.